Hello there everyone. To some of you, I may not be a very familiar voice on this channel. However, to a lot of you, I think I might be. I'm the voice of Bantha Stew, and this is our collaboration with a certain point of view. And the second part to our little story as to what if Anakin had been maimed as a Jedi Knight. In this video, we'll be picking up where we left off when Anakin and Obi-Wan went on a secret mission to try and uncover the machinations of a separatist plot on Raxus Prime, where they were developing a top-secret weapon that could turn the tides of the war in the separatist favor. However, on Raxus Prime, they didn't find what they were looking for. Instead, it had been a carefully crafted trap formulated by Count Dooku to try and entwine Jedi commanders and use them for ransom. However, Dooku and Anakin entered a duel, a battle to the death, almost, and luckily, Anakin was saved by Obi-Wan Kenobi at the last minute. However, he was maimed, destroyed, and his limbs had been torn apart, requiring him to don the same type of spectacular cybernetics used by General Grievous. Now, Anakin Skywalker is a maelstrom of emotions, one that could boil over at any moment. If you'd like, please check out the first part on the Bantha Stew channel. And, without further ado, let's hop right into today's story. What if Anakin had been maimed as a Jedi Knight? Part 2. I'm going to hand it over to a certain point of view now.
The aftermath of the battle weighed heavily on Obi-Wan Kenobi as he watched his former apprentice, now submerged in a Bacta tank, fighting for his life. Anakin Skywalker, once the promising chosen one destined to bring balance to the Force, lay motionless, scarred by Count Dooku's ferocious assault. The battle had been fierce, Dooku's force lightning searing Anakin's lungs, leaving him vulnerable and, for the first time, truly broken. Obi-Wan stood by the tank, his gaze heavy with concern. His connection with Anakin had always been strong, a bond forged through years of battles, victories, and hardships. Yet now, as he observed Anakin floating in the healing solution, Obi-Wan felt a crushing sense of guilt. He had promised to protect him, to guide him, yet the path they had walked had led to this moment of unimaginable pain.
I should have been faster, stronger.
Obi-Wan muttered under his breath, his hand tightening around the edge of the tank. Anakin's injuries weren't just physical, they were a reflection of a deeper, more profound struggle. As the Bacta worked to mend his body, Obi-Wan knew it wouldn't be enough to heal the wounds left on his former Padawan's spirit. Anakin had always been fearless, a warrior known across the galaxy for his skill and valor. But what now? What would become of the Chosen One, the Jedi meant to restore balance, when he couldn't even stand on his own 2 feet? The door slid open behind Obi-Wan, and a soft hiss echoed through the chamber. Master Yoda entered quietly, his usual calm demeanor even more somber than usual.
Healing young Skywalker is.
Yoda began,
But much more he must face. His spirit wounded it is.
Obi-Wan nodded, the weight of Yoda's words sinking deep. Anakin was at a crossroads, not just physically, but emotionally. This was a transformation, one that would shape the fate of the galaxy, one that even Obi-Wan feared he couldn't control. As Anakin lay on the surgical table, the sterile environment buzzed with the hum of medical droids and the rhythmic beeping of monitors. The bright lights above glared down, casting harsh shadows on his still form. He could feel the cool air of the operating room against his skin, a stark contrast to the searing pain that had once coursed through him. The Bacta had worked wonders, but the true test lay ahead. Obi-Wan watched anxiously from the observation window, his heart heavy with worry. Anakin was more than a friend, he was a brother. As the surgical droids began their delicate work, Anakin's thoughts spiraled into darkness. He felt the sharp edges of his pain transforming into something more tangible, something that threatened to consume him. The memories of Dooku's attack flooded back, each bolt of lightning a reminder of his vulnerability, each moment a stark contrast to the hero he had always aspired to be.
I won't lose myself,
he whispered to the void, a mantra against the encroaching shadows of doubt. But as the droids attached cybernetic enhancements, he felt a different kind of power surging through him, strength beyond anything he had known, echoing the imposing figure of General Grievous. He could feel the augmentations merging with his body, transforming him into a weapon of the Republic. Yet with that power came a terrifying realization. What would it cost him? Would he still be the Anakin Skywalker who believed in the Jedi Code, or would he become a mere puppet of the war, a tool wielded by the very forces that had betrayed him? The anger that bubbled within him clashed with his training, igniting a tumultuous storm of emotions. He remembered his mother's face, the warmth of his home on Tatooine, and his love for Padme. Each thought fueled his rage, each memory a reminder of what was at stake. Meanwhile, in the dimly lit chambers of the Senate, Palpatine stood before the Republic High Command, his voice smooth and commanding.
We must frame Anakin's death as a rallying cry for the Republic. The galaxy needs a hero, someone to symbolize the fight against the Separatists.
His words dripped with calculated manipulation, painting Anakin as a martyr for the war. The senators nodded, blinded by their ambition and desperation. Palpatine reveled in their compliance, knowing that, with Anakin's public death, he could galvanize the war effort while ensuring that the young Jedi remained out of sight, and therefore out of mind. It was a strategy that served him well, keeping the Chosen One cloaked in secrecy while utilizing his enhanced abilities for covert operations. Back in the medical bay, as Anakin slowly regained consciousness, the weight of the world bore down on him. He struggled to reconcile the powerful being he had become with the ideals of the Jedi. Each glance at his newly modified limbs felt like a betrayal, a deviation from the path he had sworn to follow. And yet, the urgency of his situation pressed at him. His family was in danger, and he needed strength to protect them from the chaos that engulfed the galaxy. He closed his eyes, focused on his breathing, willing to remember who he was beneath the metal and wires.
I will find a way to keep them safe,
he vowed silently, the anger inside him churning into resolve.
I will reclaim my identity, not just as a soldier, but as a Jedi.
As he lay there, he knew the fight was just beginning. The war had taken so much from him, but it would not take his spirit. The path ahead would be fraught with trials, but Anakin Skywalker was determined to rise from the ashes, not as a fallen hero, but as a guardian of his loved ones, even if that meant walking a darker path. The sterile walls of the medical bay faded into the backdrop of Anakin Skywalker's new reality as he donned the armor of a commander. The sleek, dark design of his suit hugged his enhanced cybernetic limbs, a constant reminder of his transformation. Gone was the celebrated hero, the chosen one admired across the galaxy. In his place stood a shadowy figure, a Jedi cloaked in secrecy, charged with leading the elite Bad Batch on covert missions. The holographic display flickered to life, casting an azure glow across the war room. Before him stood the Bad Batch, each member distinct in their features and combat styles, a ragtag team forged through the fires of battle. Hunter, the leader, nodded in acknowledgement, while Crosshair, with his sharp glare, scrutinized Anakin as if assessing whether the Chosen One could live up to his new mantle.
All right, Commander Skywalker,
Hunter said, his tone even.
Our target is General Trench's command ship. Intelligence suggests he's orchestrating a series of attacks on the outer rim, and we need to take him out before he can execute his next strike.
Anakin felt a surge of determination mixed with an unsettling weight of expectation.
This is not how I envisioned serving the Republic,
he admitted, his voice low.
I'm used to leading troops on the front lines, not slinking in the shadows.
Crosshair scoffed, his arms crossed.
You think we want to be here either? War doesn't care about glory, Commander. We get the job done, however it needs to be done.
The urgency of their mission pressed at Anakin's chest like a physical force. Lives were at stake, not just his own, but countless others. The faces of innocents flashed in his mind, families torn apart by war, children left orphaned. As much as he longed for the glory of being a public figure, he knew the galaxy needed action, not ideals.
Then let's get it done,
Anakin replied, his voice steadying as the resolve washed over him.
We'll hit them hard and fast. No time for mistakes.
With a nod of agreement, the Bad Batch prepared for their mission. Anakin led them into the heart of the conflict, his heart pounding with the duality of his existence. He was a weapon now, forged from pain and anger, yet still driven by a desire to protect those he loved. As the shuttle cut through the atmosphere, he felt the weight of his choices pressing down on him. Would he become the monster he feared, or could he channel this power for good? As they approached Trench's ship, cloaked in darkness, Anakin's mind raced with strategies. He felt the throbbing energy of the Force around him, guiding his movements and decisions. This was not the same battlefield of his past. This was an arena of shadows, where every decision could tip the balance between life and death. The shuttle landed with a thud, and they moved silently through the corridors, their training kicking in. Anakin led the charge, his cybernetic limbs granting him speed and strength that surpassed his previous abilities. The clash of their blades echoed through the ship as they fought their way to the command center. Anakin felt the thrill of battle, an intoxicating rush that fueled his newfound identity. But with each strike against the droids, the memories of his former self tugged at him, his laughter with Obi-Wan, the light of hope he had once embodied. Was he still that Anakin, or had he become something darker? As they confronted General Trench, a powerful surge of anger welled within him, threatening to overtake his mind. He had to be careful. The line between justice and vengeance was perilously thin.
Focus, Commander.
Hunter urged, sensing Anakin's internal struggle.
We have a mission to complete.
With a deep breath, Anakin pushed aside the doubts and anger, channeling them into his strength. He was a Jedi, a protector, and while the path before him had shifted, his resolve remained unwavering. He would not allow the war to define him. Instead, he would wield his new power to ensure a better future, one where families could be whole again. As they burst into the command center, Anakin felt the final vestiges of his former self merge with this new, shadowy identity. The galaxy needed heroes, and even if he had to operate in the shadows, he would be one, whatever it took. The battlefield of Anaxes was a chaotic symphony of blaster fire, clashing metal, and the cries of soldiers echoing in the distance. Anakin Skywalker, now a commander in the shadows, stood at the forefront of the melee, his cybernetic limbs glinting in the light of explosions. He felt the familiar rush of adrenaline as he launched into action, a blade of green light igniting in his hand. With a fierce determination, he advanced toward the onslaught of droids, feeling the weight of expectation both from his team and himself. The enhancements coursing through him made him faster, stronger, more precise than ever before. As he slashed through the mechanical foes, their parts flying in all directions, a fire ignited within him, urging him to push harder, fight longer. Each cut and slice brought him a moment of exhilaration, a reminder of the prowess he still possessed despite his physical changes. But beneath the surface, a tumultuous storm brewed. Anakin could feel the dark tendrils of rage clawing at his resolve, whispering temptations into his mind. Memories of pain and loss surged forward. The betrayal he felt after the attack from Dooku, the fear of becoming obsolete, the anger directed at those who saw him only as a tool of war. It would be so easy to surrender to those emotions, to let them fuel his strength.
Stay focused, Commander.
Hunter shouted, his voice breaking through the din of battle.
We need to reach Trench.
Anakin clenched his jaw, forcing the dark thoughts away. He had to lead his men, to embody the ideals of the Jedi. He could not let his emotions dictate his actions, no matter how tempting it was to unleash his fury upon the droids. With each fallen opponent, he remembered the Jedi Code, the lessons imparted by Obi-Wan and the Council, the very essence of what it meant to be a Jedi Knight. As they pushed deeper into the enemy stronghold, they finally reached the command center. Admiral Trench stood at the helm, plotting his next move, oblivious to the fate that awaited him. The sight of the grotesque separatist leader twisted a knot in Anakin's gut. There he was, the architect of so much suffering, yet Anakin's hand trembled with the weight of his saber.
Get ready, we need to move.
Crosshair barked, taking aim, but Anakin hesitated. His clones surged forward, blasters blazing, intent on executing the mission without a second thought. He felt the familiar urge to strike Trench down. The dark side beckoned him with promises of power and retribution, yet he resisted, knowing that killing an unarmed opponent would not bring him peace. It would only fuel the darkness growing within him, a dangerous path he refused to tread.
Wait!
Anakin shouted, raising his hand to stop his troops.
He's not armed. We'll capture him and put an end to his plans without bloodshed.
Hunter turned to him, eyes wide in disbelief. We can't let him escape, Anakin. He's too dangerous. Anakin's heart raced, battling the mounting pressure from his team and the dark thoughts swirling in his mind.
I won't kill him, not like this.
His declaration hung in the air, a fragile line drawn in the chaos of war. For a moment, he felt the weight of judgment from his comrades, but also an echo of relief. The dark pull subsided slightly as he took a step back from the brink. As they subdued Trench, Anakin felt the burden of his decision. It was a reminder of who he was beneath the enhancements and the pain. A protector, not a destroyer. The mission had served as a catalyst, reigniting the spark of the Jedi within him, and he knew he had to embrace this duality, the fierce warrior capable of immense power, yet steadfast in his commitment to peace and justice. The battle raged on around them, the noise a distant hum as Anakin focused on the present. He was walking a fine line between light and dark, but today he had chosen the light, and with that choice, he felt a renewed sense of purpose, ready to face whatever lay ahead, not just as a powerful commander, but as a true Jedi once more. As the days turned into weeks, Anakin Skywalker found himself enveloped in the camaraderie of the Bad Batch. Each mission brought him closer to the elite clone troopers, each a unique blend of skills and personalities, yet all fiercely loyal and dedicated to the Republic. Together, they had carved a path through the war-torn galaxy, and with each victory, Anakin felt a resurgence of pride and purpose. Gone were the lingering doubts that had plagued him since his transformation. Though his body bore the scars of past battles, The cybernetic enhancements had amplified his abilities in a way he had never anticipated. He felt powerful, a force of nature on the battlefield, yet balanced by the solidarity of his comrades. The laughter and banter that filled their downtime provided a balm for the wounds of war, a reminder of what it meant to fight for something greater than oneself.
Not bad for a bunch of misfits, huh?
Wrecker chuckled as he hefted a fallen droid onto the ship. Anakin grinned, feeling lighter than he had in ages.
You guys are a blast! I don't think I've laughed this much since, well, maybe ever.
Echo chimed in.
Just wait until you see our next mission plan. You're gonna love it.
As they prepped for their next covert operation, Anakin couldn't shake the feeling that he was finally fulfilling his destiny. Each successful mission, every strategic maneuver executed flawlessly, solidified his belief that he was a key player in the ongoing war. The Jedi, once a beacon of hope, now felt like a family to him. He was no longer just the chosen one. He was Anakin, a Jedi, a commander, and a friend. Yet beneath the surface of this newfound confidence, a subtle darkness lurked, unseen and unrecognized. Anakin was unaware of the larger game being played by Palpatine. The Chancellor watched with keen interest as the Jedi's golden boy rose once more, relishing in the way he was being molded into the perfect tool for his grander schemes. Palpatine's machinations worked behind the curtain, manipulating events to position Anakin as both a hero and a weapon, all while ensuring that he remained unaware of the true threat that loomed on the horizon.
Anakin, you've become a symbol of hope.
Palpatine had praised him once in private, his voice smooth and encouraging.
Your bravery is inspiring, not just to the Republic, but to those who fight alongside you.
Anakin had soaked up the praise, feeling it wash over him like a warm glow.
Thank you, Chancellor. It means a lot to have your support,
he replied, unaware of the web being woven around him. While Anakin savored the bonds he was forming and the victories he was achieving, Palpatine's influence grew ever more pronounced. The Chancellor's words lingered in his mind, nurturing an insatiable hunger for recognition and a desire to protect those he loved at all costs. The more Anakin fought, the more he was thrust into the spotlight. And with that spotlight came expectations that were already beginning to weigh heavily on him. With every battle won alongside the Bad Batch, Anakin's sense of identity as a Jedi was solidified. He believed he could still be a hero, that he could still embody the ideals he cherished despite the changes he had undergone. But this very belief made him blind to the truth, that he was being used, maneuvered like a piece on Palpatine's chessboard. And as the Clone Wars raged on, Anakin stood at the center of a perfect storm, an unwitting player in a game far greater than he could comprehend, the weight of destiny pressing down on him with each passing moment. The tension within Anakin Skywalker grew like a storm cloud, looming over him as he navigated the complexities of his dual life. Each covert mission with the Bad Batch solidified his reputation as a war hero, yet every success felt hollow without the warmth of Padmé's presence. While she knew about his revival, she had to keep it secret, just like everybody else. Palpatine even uses her to give an impassioned speech at his funeral about his influence throughout the war, along with his dedication to the Republic and to his loved ones. Anakin had a chance to see her during his time off on Coruscant, but those moments were few and far between. He missed her deeply, and the weight of their separation gnawed at him, turning joy into sorrow. After one incredibly long span of time during the Outer Rim sieges, when Anakin is reposted to Coruscant as the attack on the Chancellor is taking place due to his reputation and combat prowess with the Batch, Padmé and Anakin finally get to see one another. As they embraced in the quiet halls of the Senate building during the darker hours of the night, Anakin's heart raced with joy, yet the shadows of secrecy loomed large. In the quiet of a hidden chamber, Padmé's eyes sparkled with both love and concern.
Anakin, I have to tell you something.
She began, her voice trembling.
I'm pregnant.
The news struck him like lightning. A swell of joy surged within him, but it quickly morphed into a haunting awareness of their precarious situation. He could hardly comprehend the magnitude of this new life growing within her, the potential future he desperately wanted to protect. Yet, he was entangled in a web of deception, forced to maintain the facade of his death for the sake of the Republic. Looking into Padmé's eyes, he saw not just love, but the burden of their reality.
I can't protect you like this,
he whispered, anguish lacing his voice. Anakin felt the jagged edges of his responsibilities cut deeper. Torn between his obligations to the Republic and his yearning to be a devoted husband and father, he wrestled with an increasingly impossible choice. In that moment, he understood that the stakes had never been higher, and the path before him was fraught with peril. The fight to keep his family safe, now intertwined with the battle against the darkness that threatened to consume him. In the dimly lit chamber of the Senate halls, Anakin's heart raced as he held Padme close, the warmth of her presence igniting a flame of hope within him. But as the reality of their situation settled over them like a heavy cloak, an overwhelming tide of regret swept in. He pulled back slightly, searching her eyes for understanding.
I'm so sorry for not being there for you.
He murmured, his voice thick with emotion.
You deserved more than this secrecy.
Padme's gaze softened, and she gently touched his face, her thumb brushing away the lingering shadows of despair.
You're here now, Anakin. That's what matters.
Yet even as she offered comfort, Anakin felt the weight of his absence, the missed moments, the milestones, the connection they had longed to nurture.
I want to be a good father,
he affirmed, determination igniting within him.
I promise you, I'll do everything in my power to protect our family. Even if I'm far away or in danger, I will always be there for you and the children.
His words rang with sincerity, resonating with the depth of his commitment. This heartfelt reunion became a grounding moment, a reminder of everything he fought for amidst the chaos of war and manipulation. Anakin realized that his true battle lay not just on the front lines, but in the delicate balance between his duty as a Jedi commander and his responsibilities as a husband and father. In the embrace, he felt a return to emotional intimacy, a refuge from the storm of his inner turmoil. As he held Padme tightly, he knew that their love was a light in the darkness. With every heartbeat, he resolved to navigate the complexities of his new life, determined to forge a path that honored both his obligations to the Republic and the family he was destined to cherish. In that moment, amidst the uncertainty, Anakin found clarity. Love would be his anchor, guiding him through the impending shadows, reminding him of the light he had sworn to protect. As the echoes of battle faded, Anakin stood before a mirror, taking in the reflection of the cybernetic enhancements that now adorned him. His image was both a testament to his resilience and a reminder of the wounds that had shaped his journey. Gone was the naive young Jedi who had once believed in an unshakable destiny. In his place stood a warrior forged by pain and adversity, pride swelling within him as he embraced this new identity. He had learned to wield his cybernetic gifts with a deftness that surprised even himself, and with the Bad Batch at his side, he had reclaimed a sense of purpose and belonging. Yet, the victory felt bittersweet. The shadows of the Clone Wars loomed over him, heavy with the weight of Palpatine's manipulation and the darker forces at play in the galaxy. Anakin understood that while he had found a foothold in this chaos, the battle was far from over. In the quiet moments spent with Padme, he felt the love they shared illuminate the darkness threatening to encroach upon his heart. He vowed to protect her and their unborn children with every ounce of his being, yet he could not shake the feeling that he was standing at the precipice of a fate that could tear them apart. As he gazed out into the stars, the vastness of the galaxy felt both exhilarating and terrifying. Anakin was caught in a complex interplay of light and dark, love and duty, constantly pulled in conflicting directions. The promise he had made to himself lingered, whispering of hope amidst the despair. But deep down, a foreboding sense of the path ahead gnawed at him, a path fraught with choices that could lead him away from everything he cherished. In that moment, Anakin Skywalker stood poised between worlds, a cybernetic Jedi caught in a tumultuous storm, ready to face whatever fate awaited him. Even as the shadows began to stretch their fingers across the galaxy, the battle for his soul had just begun.
Hey there everyone, it's Bantha Stew here again, and I just wanted to thank each and every one of you for watching this video. Hopefully, you enjoyed our little collaboration with a certain point of view, and that you feel inspired to perhaps watch more, or even go and make your own Star Wars What If videos. I'm very glad to have had this opportunity. It's my first time doing a collaboration, and honestly, I had a blast with it. It was very different, but I enjoyed it. I hope that you guys did as well. Anyway, I hope that each and every one of you has an absolutely bantatacular rest of your day, and as always, I hope that you've had your daily delicious dose of Bantha Stew.